Well, joining us now from the centre of Brussels, speaking of being positive about Europe, is the leader of the UK Independence Party, Nigel Farage. Mr Farage, presumably you are looking forward to the breakup of the euro and preferably the European Union as well.
Well, I'd like to see David Cameron make some positive arguments tomorrow. I'd like him to say to the 17 Eurozone members who are on the verge of abolishing national democracy, please don't do this, guys. It's a huge error. It will lead not just to the rise of extremist parties, but it will probably lead to huge violence and possibly even a revolution in countries like Greece. I'd love him to say that. But yes, I honestly, if even I had some residual sympathy for the European Union, it went when the democratically elected governments of Greece and Italy were removed by the bully boys of Brussels and replaced by their own lackeys. The sooner this thing breaks up and the sooner we get back to a Europe of sovereign nation states cooperating together, trading together, being good neighbours with each other, but running their own affairs in a democratic manner, I will be delighted.
I've got to put it to you that I've just been speaking to people in Athens and in Rome, and their argument is that these governments were ratified by elected parliaments, that they're there for a temporary period, and that they are therefore democratic. I mean, at least, I suppose, as democratic as members of the House of Lords sitting in the British cabinet.
Listen, Mario Monti, the Prime Minister of Italy, now has a cabinet, not one of whom has been elected and is directly accountable. So I don't buy that argument at all. And really what you've had on this programme tonight, from Athens, from Rome, and mostly from Brussels, are members of the political class who invented the euro, who have been the architects of this failure, and nobody in these countries actually is having the courage to stand up for national democracy. The political class has never been more out of touch with public opinion, with business opinion, and I think we're going to see some very, very radical political changes over the next few years. These people have simply failed.
So as far as the British national interest is concerned, which your party says it represents, do you or do you not want the Eurozone to hold together?
I think the worst thing that could possibly happen is if countries like Greece and Portugal are kept inside this economic prison of the euro. The austerity measures being forced upon them without the compensation of a devaluing currency will drive them into depression, mass unemployment, huge civil disorder, and possibly even worse than that. If we were good Europeans, what we would do is we would help them get their currencies back and attempt to stop massive capital flight from those countries.
What is the answer of Mr. Farage? I know Mr. Farage because we have many debates in the Parliament.
Yeah. Okay,
so, what is the answer? You want the breakup of the euro? Is that what you want?
I want the countries that should never have joined the euro.
The most important trading partner of Britain is the eurozone. So you find that the British interest? Mr. Farage?
Listen, my dear Mr. Verhofstadt, whether Britain is a member of the EU or not, Mercedes will go on selling their cars in Britain and will buy French wine and will go on doing business. I had a meeting with some Swiss people yesterday. They were astonished that we were talking about trade, as they say.
Only
they have nothing to do with the EU,
only
but they trade with
only exports from Britain to Switzerland,
Norway,
but
and
not to the other countries.
and Iceland are in the European Economic Area. And the EU is negotiating separately 60 free trade deals around the rest of the world. We don't need to be part of a political union.
Mr. Cameron, if you allow me, is more intelligent as Mr. Farage on this, and that he is not continuing to block a solution.
Well,
because the solution is very clear. If Mr. Cameron is really want to block the solution now on Friday in Brussels, what shall happen is that the 17 members of the Eurozone shall go forward with more
it's going to be a two-speed Europe. Come on,
that's then a decision taken by the British government, because the British government can come into the euro. They are allowed to come in the euro to strengthen the euro, even if they have a public debt that is higher than the others.
Speaking for the Conservatives,
there is no chance of the UK joining the euro. We have seen the mistakes that have been made, and we surely don't want to repeat the problems, I can assure you.
Well, you have a public debt with high.
But your position is different from the UK Independence Party. You do want to support the Eurozone integrating further.
I think it's the business of the Eurozone whether they want to integrate further or not. What I want to see David Cameron doing is protecting the British national interest. The British national interest is being involved in the EU. It's taking part in the single market.
Yeah, but then you cannot take in hostage the Eurozone and asking to give up any labour rules or even to give up any regulation on financial markets.
That the Eurozone is unsustainable in its current form, and certainly it was the best solution for some members to leave.
That's not the government's position.
Is this the time now for Britain to say, in order to let you go forward, because we effectively have a veto like the other national members, we want something in return. We want to take powers back.
Yes, I think we want to take powers back in terms of protection of financial services in the City of London. I think we want to take powers back in areas where we can help our economy to grow.
In
areas where the EU stops us from growing, like
why is it not acceptable? I mean,
because everybody knows that the best interest of UK is that the euro survive. Even Mr. Farage somehow, with his stupid solution, said it. He doesn't want the euro to collapse because it's the best interest also of UK. Because without the euro, you can say goodbye to the internal market of the EU.
No, come on. We had the single market before we had the euro.
So what is going to happen if David Cameron comes here and says, look, I will let this go through, but I want something in exchange? What's going to happen?
But this is not democracy.
That's not the way to deal with this crisis. If he tried to use this crisis of the euro to have some other changes who are not in the interest of the European Union, then I think it's a stupid game to play. Don't play with the euro.
I think you've got
to speak, because this will cause problems in the coalition as well, won't it?
Well, I think you've got to realise that all leaders, and it's a very bad thing, are left pandering to their own national populations.
Why is it a bad thing to be accountable to your own national population,
accountable is one thing, but actually pandering to an opinion where you have not actually put forward the argument. What I'm going to say is Merkel has to say that the ECB can't intervene in a quantitative easing, and she has to say that there isn't going to be a transfer union. Sarkozy has to say that France can't give up control and more sovereignty and intergovernmentalism. No, and in the UK...
because they're democratically elected
hang on,
leaders
you've had your go. And in the UK, Cameron says that he has to go for repatriation. Well, I'll tell you, all three of them are wrong, and all three of them have got to give, because otherwise you will have a mess, and the mess is unaffordable.
We've got a minute left.
You need a strong commission.
OK, we've got a minute left. I just want to ask you a yes or no question. In a year's time, will there still be a Eurozone with 17 member nations?
Yes.
Yes.
Of course not. It's impossible.
If they do the right thing on Friday.